Welcome back again to the Curling Champions Tour here in Bern, Switzerland. We're featuring the final game of the International Bernese Ladies Cup, which is between Team Lene Nielsen from Denmark and Team Silvani Tirinzoni from Switzerland. They both fought their way through a triple knockout system, won their quarterfinals this morning and semi-final, and now are fighting for the title, which would bring them 6,000 Swiss francs. The runner-up is going to get 4,000 Swiss francs. So my name is Nicole Strausack, and alongside me is Mike Harris. Mike, how are you today?
Great, thanks Nicole, and nice to be with you here in Bern. Got a good final lined up here with Tirinzoni and Nielsen, which is great. I'm excited to see a few rocks in play. We've already got a corner guard up, and saw some great shot making from Nielsen in that semi-final win over Marianne Arsenault from Canada. Thought she played really well, especially when it mattered most.
Exactly, and Silvana Tirinzoni in her semi-final has beaten Team Erica Brown from the United States, also in a close game. She also had to make her last shot to win the game, and now we have actually Silvana Tirinzoni qualifying from the A road of the triple knockout system here in the final, and Lene Nielsen coming out from the B road. So both teams having played already a few games. For Lene Nielsen, I think this is the seventh game already.
Eighth game, I think, yeah, and 7 for Silvana. She's undefeated, or 6 for Silvana. She went undefeated, as you said. So anyway, it was. It's been a lot of curling anyway in 3 days for both of these teams, which is good. Give them a good indication about the ice conditions. They should have a good idea. So we expect a lot of shots here in the final.
So this is going to be a 8-end game, and Silvana is having the hammer in this first end because they qualified out of the A road, and they're playing the blue rocks. Using their corner guard, they're aiming for a come around, just to be short and over curled, and not quite making it.
Yep, tall. Tall guard.
So a little bit of an advantage, I would say, for even though Tirinzoni has last rock here in the first end, a little bit of an advantage for Nielsen that she just finished playing on the sheet, same sheet she just finished the semi-final on. So she's comfortable with the rock, she's comfortable with the ice surface, obviously, and so she's not giving up too much, giving up the hammer here in the first end. So.
And here actually we see a new face in the team of Silvana Tirinzoni. This is Courtney Davis. She actually is sparing in this team because the original second Esther Neuerschwander, she just had an ankle injury on the foot and is unable to play. So Mike, do you have some information about how Courtney got on this team?
Well, nothing, no secrets really, but Brian Chick, who's a friend in Toronto, he coaches Silvana's team, and I sent him a message about 5 minutes before the game and say, how did she end up here? And really they were desperate, trying to find, not that they're desperate, they're lucky to have Courtney on the team, but they were looking for anyone who could come over to Switzerland on 2 days notice, and luckily Courtney could do that, and obviously she hasn't hurt the team any. They're here in the final undefeated, so it's obviously been a good fit right away for for the team.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's also a big compliment to the team if they manage to integrate the new players so quickly.
Very much so, yes.
Ja. Vind ik goed.
So a little bit of little uncomfortable here for Silvana, so they're looking at playing the double and or hit and roll. Maybe might even get all three stones going here. Good call was the hit and roll in front of that stone over in the wings, though.
Whoa, whoa. 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 9.5. Whoa.
There's the triple.
Well played, Marlene. Great shot in this first end.
Nice try. That was good.
My first. Did I hit the broom? Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, it just curled. I was wondering.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it in the last game, but we did mention the rocks here are they're quite dead. So to get all three rocks moving like that out of the rings was really impressive, very precise. As we saw, they're not the most lively stones.
Go, go, go. Whoa, Shannon. Whoa, Shannon.
On the other hand, Helen Simonsen answers with a nice
Yep, good hit and roll. But not a bad spot for Tirinzoni, though. It's behind the tee line, and watch as we watch the replay where it goes to. It's well back and provides a little bit of backing, actually. So if Tirinzoni can get even half around that tight guard, Nielsen's going to have to be careful how she plays a takeout.
5, 6. Whoa. 6. 9 only. 5, 6. 7. 6. 5, 6. 5. Only if you have to. 5, 6. No line. Needs to finish. 7.
You're saying no line. They want to get this at least an inch buried, just a slight amount, so that it brings that jam into play. And there's a good look at that. That's actually quite a good shot.
Yeah.
Difficult for Nielsen to remove that blue stone without jamming on her own stone at the back of the 8-foot, back 12-foot. So pretty good result.
I guess she's going to come down with a slow weight to try and nose hit.
Yeah, just tap it back with just enough weight to move it out of the house, I think. Difficult shot here in the first end.
But we have to say Team Nielsen really showed a very solid performance in the semi-final. We were covering that game, and Lene, but also the other girls really didn't show a lot of weaknesses.
No, they played really well. And there's the jam that we talked about. So nice. It was a good hit and roll behind the corner, behind those guards, but you said it really worked against them a little bit. We just spoke briefly with Marianne Arsenault's team after the game, and Colleen in particular, she'd never seen Lene curl before. She goes, yeah, she just seemed to make all her draws and all her hits and their run backs. And I said, yeah, because I mentioned that I'd seen them play at the Europeans. And he goes, yeah, they just seem to make a lot of shots all the time. And yeah, she called me, yeah, it's really annoying, she said.
Was wishing for
playing all
something
these
else.
young teams who just seem to make all the shots. Yeah, goes, yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy that at all, she said. But, it was quite funny.
No, you can see all these teams are working very hard.
Yes. And again, you talk about teams that I've been impressed by. I've watched, haven't had a lot of opportunity to watch Silvana play, but I've seen her play in 2 or 3 bonspiels in Canada and this week. And again, just very confident skip, very decisive, and seems to be a good leader. Makes a lot of good decisions, and same thing, just doesn't miss very many shots. And there's another good example. That wasn't the easiest shot in the first end, but good chance now to score 2. Nielsen's going to have to do something special here to not give up a deuce.
Det er vel mest optimalt at rulle bag garderne, ikke?
So she's going to aim for the hit and roll in front of
gjorde jeg
that
før.
second blue rock. If she hits it a bit too thin, she could also go for the double takeout.
Yeah.
So it's a shot
Couple
with,
of options,
with
yeah.
options.
Så det der fast.
God! Måske, ej, den er 9.
Men. Wow.
Falder nu.
Ja, hvis du kan, Maria.
Yeah, and just didn't get the roll she needed there. So open hit here for Tirinzoni in the first end to get her deuce and get off to a good start.
Okay.
Time.
And a missed opportunity there from Silvana. Hit and rolls out and only gets a single point here in the first end.
Not like in the previous two games, in the quarterfinal and in the semi-final. Silvana managed to get her deuce in the first end with the hammer. And these two games she played against Scotland in the morning, Team Weavers in the quarterfinal, and as I mentioned before, Team Erica Brown in the semi-final from the United States. And this is the 7th game of Team Tirinzoni, and I just looked it up. Team Lene Nielsen, that is already the 9th game in the competition.
That's a lot in 3 days.
They played quite a few games in the triple knockout, not qualifying from the A road but the B road. And this morning they've beaten Team Hasselborg from Sweden 7-5, and with the same score the game we featured Team Marianne Arsenault from Canada. So Sandra Gantenbein opening the second end.
And as you mentioned, Nicole, there is a bronze medal game. So they're playing for 1,000 francs over there as well, I think. So the 3-4 game, Arsenault against Brown.
Yeah, the winner is going to take 3,000.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, winner gets 3 and the loser of that game gets only 2,000. So it's worth curling for.
Go! Yep. Hele vejen! Go, Helle. Go. Godt, Maria. Godt faret, Pia.
And here's Team Nielsen. We saw all of these ladies started curling in 1998 as Maria Poulsen at lead, and she's a teacher. And their second is Jean Ellegard, and a student. Just a really young, solid team all the way through here. And so they came 4th place at the Women's Worlds in 2011. And Helle Simonsen, also a teacher. And I said I was particularly impressed with Lene, watching her play at the Europeans in December. How just seemed to make a lot of important shots when she needed them most, and she did the same thing today. She had to draw the button against 2 in the quarterfinals, and she made a ton of really good shots against Arsenault this afternoon in the semi-final. So in Coach Lasse Larsen, he said he's been around the curling world for a long time, doing a good job coaching this team.
And then we have Team Tirinzoni playing out from Curling Club Aarau. Sandra Gantenbein playing lead, 20 years old. She's a marketing controller. Esther Neuenschwander, the usual second, which is not playing in this game. As we said before, she just injured her ankle, and Courtney Davis stepped in. On the third position we have Marlene Albrecht. She joined the team for this season. And on the skip position, Silvana Tirinzoni, a very experienced curler herself, and they had a very good tournament season so far. Team Tirinzoni, they played in almost all the Curling Champions Tour event, while we see Brian Chick here. He's coach since this year as well, also from Ontario, is he?
Yes, he is. He's from Toronto. Sylvana should have asked me first if she wanted him to coach, because I could have warned her, but Brian's I think listening, so I'll be nice to Brian. I'm just kidding. Brian's actually, they've done a great job. They've had good success this first season, in fact, and I'll give all the credit to Brian, because I know he's paying attention with us this morning. So good morning, Brian.
Yeah, they really did. They, like in the Radisson Blue Oslo Cup, they finished up third. They were runner-up at the Women's Masters in Basel, and they had an exceptional season also in Canada. They played a couple of tournaments there. In the Sun Life Classics. I think they were losing the semi-final, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, they've had a good run. They're actually said they're solid team.
So a really good tournament season, and also in the Swiss curling ranking system, they're team number 2 behind Miriam Ott, and fighting for a spot of the Olympic trials for Sochi.
Otte fin. Farfart. Farfarten.
Godt være 4.
Ja.
Godt være 4.
Prøv skift den.
Ja, jeg prøver.
Yep. Giv den lidt. Yep. Yep. Wow. Godt, Jenny.
So Jean Ellegard with a really nice come around in the top 4 foot, fully covered behind that guard. Marlene aiming for a run back.
That's one thing. That's one shot I've noticed a lot of the teams have really improved on over the last. That's one of the big differences between the game now and even 10 years ago. That this run back shot seems to get made more and more often.
For a long time, it was really a men's curling thing, executed well at many men's teams. But now,
even then, it used to be just happy to hit the rock in the house. Now you're trying to hit it and stay, and it's really, you see a lot of shots made that run back.
Yeah, and these days you see also really many women's team who can play really also fast takeouts, run backs.
Yeah, we saw Nielsen make a couple really good run backs in the last game in the semi-final. Sorry.
3. Yep. Alle lag. Så. Så ikke så meget linje. 12. 3. Nej.
So Helle Simonsen
Kan den komme i 12?
trying to replace that guard. Just over curling a bit and showing the inside.
Not bad though, really. If you look at the angle, they can only get rid of one of those reds. And Tirinzoni, she knows she's in a bit of trouble. Would love to get rid of one with the run back here.
Yeah. Yep. 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 Best. Yeah. Hard, nice. Hard.
Well done.
Okay, good.
Better than it was a moment ago, although they're still in a bit of trouble. Those blue stones are in pretty good position. The one that's just thrown, just short of the rings.
Jeg er ikke så glad for, at hvis den stopper der.
Men ellers gør hun det jo.
Så vil jeg hellere have, at vi kommer en sten længere op, så hvis hun ruller, så lægger hun helt herop. Ja. Altså det er sådan lidt alt eller intet.
Det er orden.
Vi kan godt prøve.
Nej, det er fint.
Er det her fint?
Er det 10 her?
Ja. Yep. Hele vejen. Hele vejen. Yep. Wow. Yep.
Ja, det var altså ikke med vilje.
Okay,
A little thinner than she wanted, but again, a pretty good result, I would say, trying to hit and roll to the front, but it's almost buried again, and I think Tirinzoni's going to have to play the run back, third time in a row playing this run back. Here's a good look at it. The original call was just hit and roll to the top of the rings, but you can see the shooter is almost completely buried.
Freeze?
14-5. Still live.
Actually, she has made a decision to draw.
Bit of risk here. Bit of risk in both shots, really. It comes down to comfort, but we had the advantage of watching this sheet earlier, and we noticed this side of the sheet was a little bit straighter, and a couple of freezes didn't curl enough for Marianne Arsenault in this spot. We'll see. Sylvana has a good feel for it.
Time's great. Just wait.
That's for me.
Just wait. Lots of room.
5.
Whoa.
5.
Whoa.
8.
That's a girl.
That's 8. Tia.
Yep.
6.
Go hard.
7.
Dash.
Tia.
Go. Yep.
Going around it now. And again, they got caught. It just was straighter than they thought and didn't take the curl.
Jeg har cirka halvdelen, måske lidt under.
It really had a finish after passing that red shot rock. If you look at it, I mean, it's like half buried
That's
behind
crazy.
that shot rock. So just at the right point of time, they changed their mind and took it all the way back to be buried
second
behind that
shot,
rock
yeah.
and lie. Second rock, exactly.
Still in trouble though.
Om igen, så bare fyre den ud. Helst ikke tage vores egen eller garden.
They're just
Altså,
contemplating
vi kan
either
lave
playing
den
the
her.
freeze or just trying to hit and roll over.
Eller vi kan gå ovenpå.
Ligger vi?
Vi
Or
ligger
that shot's
1.
quite good too.
Nå.
That one they
Får
just
ikke
indicated
toeren af at ligge
top.
her? Får jeg to af det?
Nej.
Jeg synes, vi skal prøve at gå efter den.
Vi kan risikere at
I
ramme
like this
vores
call.
egen.
Tap it back, lie
Okay,
3,
so-
roll open, and if Tirinzoni risks playing the freeze again, she might give up 4 now. So it'll be quite the decision for her to ignore that stone.
Nej, der er ikke meget plads.
Men jeg ved ikke, hvad det er.
Det er ikke rigtig andet. Jeg ved ikke. Selv ikke, hvis den kommer til at ligge lidt skævt på, hvis det laver indlæg.
Bagkant er også okay, tror jeg.
Ja. Det der efter hakke.
Bagkant plus.
Klar.
Yep.
Is it over curling?
Yeah, it's already on the top one.
Åh, snit.
Don't want to take her own out here.
Ja.
So Sylvana's shot rock now. And again, I think everyone's first instinct maybe might be to hit that stone on the back right corner, but that might leave a double for 3. So she's going to play the draw again. You have to remember, you and a guard would actually be quite a good result here than force Nielsen into taking one. There's a good look at it. Just shot rock. They're talking about the hit now. I think the draw is the right call.
Yeah, Silvana wants to go for the draw. They were discussing the other option too, but I like the draw because with the draw you have many options. If it comes perfectly, you can be half hidden behind the corner guard, playing shot rock or being second in top 4 foot, but you can also be a bit shorter, stay in the 8 foot, stay in the 12 foot, and actually guard.
Even
the
just
shot
throw it
rock.
on the center line. You're fine, right? I mean, there's no risk. You have to a little bit wide, just let it stop.
So missing on the right side here definitely is being short.
6, 7.
Whoa, wait.
7.
It's a curl.
6.
Where is it?
5, 6.
Whoa!
5, 6.
Whoa!
6, 7. 7.
8.
The thing you need to be really
8, 9.
careful here is not to leave a easy double takeout for a big house.
Or they say it's an 8.
7. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
that'll do the trick actually.
That'll
That's
do, yeah.
that's quite good. No double there.
No.
Ja, lidt smule mindre.
8,5. Ja, jeg tror, den går i vores må jeg.
Nej, spørgsmålet er jo under. Så den står af i den og kører den
And again, we saw those like when we talked about it in the last game and the game prior. The rocks are so dead that I don't think she can actually throw enough weight to make both of those go away. That blue guard at the top of the screen is in the way. You would really need to hit half of that blue stone or less, and it still might jam on the one on the side. So the draw is probably the safe shot here for Nielsen. Wants to make sure her shooter will stay.
Hak. Ja. Ja. Næsten samme fart. Det var den før. Bagkant plus bagkant.
Nej, det var samme far.
Så var det meget is.
Kom godt før.
Ja. Det kan man så sige. Vi hælder bare drage til anden. Er det fint?
Er det til 1? Uanset hvad?
Hun ligger 2, ikke? Ja.
Hvordan kan hun ligge 2, når vi havde skotten før?
So not a hard shot here, but important here in the second end.
Hak plus! Wow.
Hack plus.
Klar. I will. Yep.
This is really curling.
Yep.
Just by the guard.
Godt, Lena.
Actually, both rocks have curled a bit more than they expected on Lene's rocks, but she manages well and secures the 1 to tie up the game 1-1 after 2 ends. Hammer switching again to Team Tirinzoni in that third end. Actually, Mike, we have seen quite interesting competition here in Bern. We had 32 teams competing here from 12 nations, so well international fields with all the top European teams, also some teams from China, Japan, Canada, United States. Only the teams missing that are playing the Continental Cup at the moment, but other than that, a really strong field.
I don't think you could get a stronger field, as I said, other than the 6 teams that are at the Continental Cup. You have Jennifer Jones and Heather Nedwin, who are defending multiple defending Canadian champion, and Alison Pottinger is the U.S. champion, and we have Eve Muirhead and Sigfridsson and
Stadig god plads.
Miriam
Kommer
Ott.
der.
How did I forget
104.
Miriam? The Swiss world champion is there as well, representing Europe at the Continental Cup. So, you know, though without those six teams, I don't think we could have handpicked a better field for this event. And again, for these teams to make it to the final here, they know they've accomplished something pretty special at this event. There was no easy games.
No easy games, and also quite a tough schedule because the triple knockout was played in 2 days, which is quite unusual. Usually you take 3 days for it, so that means also quite a lot of games for some of these teams. Could go up to 4 games in a day. If you went through the sea road, you had to play 4 games yesterday, so that is all adding up. And of course also for the ice crew, that means a lot of work to bring all these games in, and they're doing a good job here at the ice rink of Bern.
Well, and we talked about it in the semifinal, but you know, usually it's unusual for all of the C teams to lose the quarterfinals, just because they tend to have played a few sudden death games already. But as you mentioned, all 4 of the teams that came through the seaside had played 4 games yesterday, and that takes its toll on the body. And they had to play again this morning at 8 o'clock after getting off the ice late last night. And that would have been certainly a physical disadvantage playing that quarterfinal this morning. So the A and the B qualifiers all won, and so the last remaining undefeated team here is Tirinzoni. But even she has played 7 games in 3 days. I think Nielsen has played 3 games each Friday, Saturday, and today, Sunday. So.
The current European champion, Anna Sidorova, and her team from Russia, they just missed out on qualifying for the quarterfinals. They had a measure in their game last night against Team Hasselborg. It was a measure for the win, and it was really just by an inch, and just lost out and didn't qualify for this quarterfinal.
Yeah, and I think if there's any surprise, that would be the one, I would think. And actually, only one of the Canadian teams qualified for the playoffs as well, and it wasn't the team I think anyone would have picked coming in here. We had Kathy Overton-Clapham and her team, who's had good success on the cash circuit over the years, and Shannon Kleibrink, who's usually a great cash player as well. And yeah, I mean, to see Marianne Arsenault and her team come through and qualify through the A side. Crystal Webster, also a great team from Calgary, was here. And all 3 of those Canadian teams were in the consolation event fairly early. So again, I think it just speaks to the depth of the women's field in curling. You know, 6 or 7 countries right now you could say would have a legitimate chance of winning a gold medal at any World Championship or Olympic Games, and each country has 2 or 3 very strong teams as well. And I think, you know, a lot of people outside of Switzerland wouldn't know much about Tirinzoni or Yagi, for example, who are very good Swiss teams. They know a lot of people know Miriam. She's had great success at the Worlds and Olympics over the years, but some very, very impressive curlers here.
Yeah, talking of Team Michel Yaki, they are actually the defending champion, and they were losing out to Team Lene Nielsen this morning in the quarterfinal.
Godt, vend lidt. Vend. Wow.
As this third end's developing, there's a pretty good situation here for Nielsen. She's got shot rock behind one of her own and is throwing a guard. Needs to get this guard to curl a bit more. Not a bad shot, but I think you can see that stone now at the top 12, just an inch or so of it. But if, say Hackweight, if you can actually hit and stay here, that will certainly add some pressure.
So now we hear also Team Tirinzoni communicating in English.
I love it. It's good. I can.
Finally, you understand
Yeah,
something.
exactly. The Swiss German was difficult for me, and neither one of us speaks Danish, right? So we would be big trouble there with Nielsen's team.
Yeah. Hack. Fest. Whoa. Wait is good. Hack. Whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa. Hack to board. Fest. Fest. Yeah.
Oh, just a rub on the front guard. Close to being perfect.
Okay.
So the problem for Tirinzoni is that the guard is still there. Really only just feathered the guard, and now they're gonna have to start throwing some run backs to try to get shot stone.
Yep. 2. Yep. 2. Yep. 2,5. Wow. Skift. Yep. Oh. Wow. Oh, yep. Yep. Oh. Godt, Helle. Godt se. Godt faret, piger. Godt se, piger.
Chance now play the double on the red that was just thrown and the one in the top 12, and if they get lucky, they can actually get. If they go across the top with it, they could actually maybe get lucky and end up lying shot stone.
Fast Nase, ganz leicht an.
But they're just playing the straight back double, not across the top. And I almost prefer the other one though, Nicole. They said the one going across the top and try to get lucky, and the one in the forefoot.
I agree, yeah.
Yep.
If she hits it nicely on the nose though, she might have a chance for a run back later on in the end with the shooter. But she just misses it by nothing.
And rolled for a guard, and there's another red guard out in front of that blue one. So there's
That's a bad
fan up.
result.
It's they're gonna have a hard time scoring now.
Det er faktisk lige før det er nok.
Steel is definitely in play.
Spørgsmålet er, om du bare vil have den her op.
All smiley faces with
I'd be smiling.
Danish team.
I'd be smiling in this situation.
Yeah.
It looks pretty good right now.
Ikke noget, der taler om. Nej. Meget fint. 2 rigeligt. Vent lidt. Wow.
Så lad den være, for guds skyld da. Skal bare dø.
2. Den køler lidt anderledes, den her. Vær klar til at skifte.
Bare dø derude.
Hvor er I? 2. Yep. Yep. God, Janne. Yep. Kør. Yep. Okay, Helle.
Ja.
God fart.
I'll try to peel some guards out of the way here. Hit maybe a quarter of that red one and get some. Yeah, you see that, the double.
A double clearing is badly needed here for Team Tirinzoni because the forefoot is blocked from all sides. No chance at the moment to draw in.
I like peeling this one too. She can actually get a lot of maybe 3 of the guards moving and send her blue into the rings, perhaps. So half a rock and clip the red center guard. The one she hits will come back. Hopefully hits her blue.
That's not a bad result.
Now get rid of 2 of them.
Hun fjernede 2 garter. Bare foran.
Hvem er jeg tænker på, hvis forhånden ikke kan skyde det helt væk.
Ja.
Om 6
Ja.
meter, sådan noget.
Tror det er for meget? Hvad synes jeg er så fint?
Jeg synes, når faren kommer ned, så kommer han meget bag.
2! Ja!
So Lene with her first rock is just going to replace the guard. Make life difficult for Silvana.
The nice thing for Silvana, we talked again, that she can actually go red, blue, red, and because the rocks actually aren't that lively, it's really difficult for her to make things worse for herself. There's no way she can remove her own and leave the opponents lying too. So she can actually try a run back pretty much risk-free on her next one if Nielsen makes the guard.
2! Vent lidt. 2! En halv! Bare hold ren.
Det er 3.
3! Wow! 2 en halv! Wow!
Yep.
Wow!
Bare lige stop.
Det er okay.
Godt, Lena.
Jeg var lige ved at sige til hende, hun skulle hovedet i den. Jeg synes, hun kom.
Ja glaubst du, dass man das so überhaupt noch nachkommen? Hast du nur noch für den Traum?
Maybe we should have tapped first, oder? Ja, the tap.
Oh ja, ich glaube nicht, dass der noch geht. Ich müsste schon verspeckt spielen.
So the double on the two guards doesn't really do her much good at this point. She needs to play the run back if she wants to score.
Wir können hoffen, dass sie über die something. Ja, ich weiss nicht, ob wir ihn jetzt spielen.
Eben.
Ja.
Also jetzt so, oder?
Ja, genau so. Also ist ja gleich, auch wenn es da hinten nichts passiert, dass der einfach... Gut, aber nachher macht
Ja, ist gut. Nein, finde ich gut. Den probieren aussen, oder?
Ja.
They are discussing the different options and actually talking about the first goal they have is to open up. If something does happen in the forefoot by taking a stone back, they're happy with it, but first goal is to open up.
Der auf der Hinter...
So it looks like they're going red, red, blue here.
He goes inside and try.
If she makes it, the guard's going to still be there. They might even be able to get a 2 out of that. But as I said, like opening it up is certainly a good start.
Yep. Yep. Whoa. 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 Dumped up. The blow.
What a great shot. Fantastic shot.
Very nice.
And buried.
Very nice.
What a great hurling shot.
Det tror jeg ikke.
Thank you, Skipper,
Det ser
says the
ret
team.
stort ud hernede fra.
Absolutely. Also well judged from the sweeping
Ja, men
for the line.
Yeah, look where the blue one pops to. Just stays buried behind that corner guard. And Nielsen still has an out. She can tap that red stone back into the top of the button. We're looking to see whether there's a hole there or not, but I think the safer shot is to play the bump.
jeg synes ikke, der er nogen grund til at give hende 2.
You'd hate to give her a wide open shot for 2, even if she doesn't throw right now. Tirinzoni's got a kind of a bit of a tricky draw to get into the circles, but if she can ever bump this right into the top of the button,
5.
it'd be really tough for
De
Silvana
ligger
to
sådan
score.
lidt for skudt af hinanden, så... Okay. Giv den et lille squeeze mere. Du må hellere ramme den skråt, end vi må ramme den...
Is that ice for a come around?
Ramme den.
I think they're playing the tap, I think, but it might be too much ice, so you're right.
Ja.
Ikke særlig langt,
So
synes
here
jeg.
is the last rock of Lene Nielsen in that third end.
They're staying off it for line. They can't afford to go for line yet. There it goes.
Ej, der skal faktisk på den der.
She bumped it far enough.
Det er godt forsøgt.
They had to wait for the line.
Couldn't sweep it earlier, but it was needed for the weight.
Yeah, but
just staying a bit short and remaining in second position.
Just, ja.
They're trying to decide which draw is easier. I think the outturn draw personally is. There's a little bit more room. You can see the guard. Looking hitting roll. There's all kinds of options, but I like this decision. This would be a great. We call that an unassisted deuce. Back home, she didn't get any help from her team in this end, and Silvana can get this one. She had actually 2 really bad shots preceding her first one, so this would be a great great boost for the team if they can score 2 here. As it is, they're already ahead of the game, I think, from what they thought they were going to be facing. Need to be right on the tee line here.
And as we can see where Marlene is holding the broom, just edge of the 12-foot, it's not curling that much.
Just for race.
Line's great, just wait.
6, 7.
Needs to curl. Needs to curl.
It stays straight for quite a bit and only starts to curl
It's on the tee
when
line.
it's getting closer to the house.
Line's perfect. Yeah,
Hard,
hard,
That is, I was going to say an excellent deuce, but I'm not sure it got there.
I think it looks good for a deuce.
I'll go with short. I'm going to say it's short. It's close though, isn't it?
I think it's a 2. Should we bet?
We'll bet. We'll have a bet. For the post-game beverage, whatever it happens to be. Your choice.
Throw.
You have to split the time of this.
It's really close.
14.5.
Oh, they should measure it, I'm thinking.
That was a fabulous shot you made on your first one.
Yeah.
It's the hole looks
Yeah, it
so
might
much
be
bigger
two.
down
You
there.
might be right.
It did
They are measuring.
I think I'm going to have to buy.
Yeah.
Did you have a second close look at it, Mike?
I did.
So, as there are no umpires in that
Couple more.
Which I love.
tournament
I love that.
event, the players can do the measure themselves.
I think that's a great idea. I think the players should measure themselves all the time, but that's just me.
You.
Yeah.
I was saying I've seen it's happened twice to me where the officials actually kicked the rock by mistake, and
Is
then,
that right?
and then then what can you do, right? So if something happens with the player doing it, then at least someone's at fault, right? That is close.
See, I told you, it was fine.
Relax.
See, I told you, I knew it was.
Didn't get an indication.
No.
So,
We'll watch the scoreboard with anticipation, see what happened. It's hard for me watching the European teams because they give high fives, whether they get 2 or they give up 2. It's really difficult to know what's going on. Everybody gives high fives. Doesn't matter what happens.
Well, important to
Keep
keep a
it positive.
positive
Yeah.
attitude, Mike. So now the score goes up and it is a 2, and I'm looking
And-
forward to my drink
And Nicole
after the
gets a
game.
drink. Ah, darn. That's okay. I'll buy one for myself too.
Yeah, and I have 5 more ends to think about what I want.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
So 3-1 for Silvana's team after 3 ends.
Yeah, and that was also, I'll say it's 3-1 for Silvana after 3 ends, after that last end. That was, I said she made 2 fantastic shots there to get her team out of trouble and score 2 points. Take a 2-point lead here into the 4th end.
And if you have just joined us on our webcast, this is live from Bern, from the International Bernese Ladies Cup, where we have seen some exciting curling so far. This is the final game of this Curling Champions Tour event And
Den
my name
er
is Nicole
kun
Strausak,
lige 2.
and
Ja, men den
I'm
kommer til at køre
commentating this
ret
game
meget.
with Mike Harris.
Men den skal herned.
So Mike, you actually spent quite a lot of time at the moment in Switzerland.
Yes, yeah, it's exciting. I'm over here quite a bit, living in Chambéry, and we have a new high performance center there. We're trying to work with some of the, I would say, less common curling countries, I suppose is the best way to put it, with countries like Latvia and emerging countries, Latvia and Poland and Netherlands and Kazakhstan and Turkey, and these countries that, for the people watching in North America and Canada, you don't think of those countries as necessarily traditional curling countries, but they're European. I was amazed, actually. The European Championships has 26 countries competing in the A, B, and C pools, and it's really amazing to think that most North American curling fans only really know the 6 or 7, 8 countries that usually compete at the World Championships. So it's been an eye-opening experience for me, and it's been fun working with a lot of talented athletes from different countries. It's been great.
And I heard you have some really good equipment also in Chambéry.
Yeah, we've got a new Dartfish video software, and then we've got a really new exciting broom that measures pressure and speed and fitness levels. So teams come up and use our new brush. We have one here, and there's a gentleman in Winnipeg, Dr. Jerry Sandy, who invented this broom, and so there's only 2 of them in the world. The Canadian Curling Association also has one of their own, but they're not sharing that technology until after Sochi. So any team that wants to use this type of technology, it's really fascinating to see what it measures. It's quantified how much power you're applying to the broom and how much speed you're using and whether or not you get tired as you sweep, that type of thing. So we just begun some testing this past weekend, and I'm looking forward to. We just want to accumulate as much data actually as we can with all of the top athletes to see where the best teams in the world are at, and where if you can change your body position and improve your efficiency, that type of stuff. So pretty exciting.
And like that,
Pretty
you can,
exciting.
as a team, really also define how much the 2 sweepers can sweep the stone,
Right.
a draw. And
Yes.
what's the finding there? I mean, with the ladies team, of course, it always depends on the ice as well, on the ice condition, how far you
and
can take a stone.
we're
but,
more concerned about how the athlete can become more efficient as opposed to whether you're making 10 feet or 8 feet or 6 feet of difference, because as you say, it makes so much difference depending on ice conditions and whatnot. So there's no one real answer, I don't think. And even the sweeping, the material, the head you're sweeping with makes a difference. So this is all about the athlete and what they can do to become more efficient. But the other things we do is we test them on draws and takeouts with the gripper, without the gripper, on the left side, on the right side. So sometimes you think that 2 sweepers would be more efficient, one on the left, one on the right, because that's the way they're comfortable. But in fact, if the combination is better, more efficient on the other side, we can actually quantifiably say this is actually better for your team if you do it this way. And before it was always just speculation. There's a great shot. Great shot.
A triple
from Nielsen,
takeout, yeah.
Run back, and then we talked about that, the strength of this Danish team being able to do this, and this is just another.
Nej, de spillede en triple.
We made a bunch of those against Arsenault in the semi-final today. So good way to get good. It's a nice option to have when you're in trouble. Have that big weight run back.
Yeah, and exactly in stones like that, the sweeping is so important. I mean, we're talking millimeters
Yes.
of run backs, and the judging of the line from the skip, the release of the player, and then the weight the 2 sweepers can put on the broom to really keep the line is creating a team shot in curling. And of course, when you have technique like that in Chambéry, also to really improve on the sweeping side, that of course is a big benefit.
Right. What we're trying to do is provide the teams with information that they can use for their own benefit, and I said it's not subjective. It's not I think you're better at doing this. This is exactly what's going on, and we provide real live data for them to work with. What they choose to do with that data, I leave that up to them and their coaches, but we provide the information to the teams, and then I also work with them quite a bit on strategy and team dynamics, that type of thing, which is more my alley. As a former skip, I can't help them a lot with sweeping technique. I tell you that for sure. So, not my area of expertise. But what we can do is show them if they change their body position, they'll get more pressure, more power, that type of stuff. So it's interesting it's been interesting for me to see these rocks being used, or these brooms being used rather.
Have you been playing another position than skip actually in your curling career?
Not well,
Mike?
no, not well, no. I played third for a year. I threw third stones, but called the game with one of my teams for a year or two. But ever since I was about 12 or 13, I've been skipping. So
Just 5, 4.
I'm an excellent sweeper for about 6 feet from the tee line to the back line. That's all I've got. So
that is worth something as well.
There you go. I suppose so. I suppose so. So Tirinzoni lying 2 here, and Nielsen's looking for a hit and roll behind. Down to thirds rocks now.
And yep. Whoa,
Skal lidt opad. Ja.
whoa.
Tag
And
den anden vej.
Yep. Yep. Go, Sam, go.
Original call was actually to roll the other way. They were making a last-minute decision to roll behind the corner guard. Didn't quite get it over there, though.
Stani.
Which is leaving the opportunity to Team Tirinzoni, Marlene Albrecht with her third stone rock to play a hit and roll behind the center.
10. Yep. Whoa, whoa.
Marlene being a left-hand
We're more than
player
10.
in this team.
Yeah, 9, 8.
Just didn't take the curl like they anticipated, but
Lots more.
9, 9,
got rid of it. Nielsen still, I think, needs to deal with this stone at the top of the 12-foot. That blue stone is in a problematic position for her. Needs to show a little bit of patience here, I think. Down 2, you always kind of want to rush in there, but
Drag ind, men så vil hun altid kunne lave den.
you can see what
Så
she's thinking.
spørgsmålet er, om vi ikke skal tage den. Eller rulle
Don't
den.
understand what she's thinking, but I can see what she's thinking. She's
Eller rulle
She
den.
helps with indicating with her broom. She's talking of the hidden nose. I would also quite like the hit and roll behind that corner
yeah, you could roll right
guard
behind that
and,
corner
Her
guard.
holder
That's
du
right.
kontrolzonen.
Ja.
Whoa. Whoa.
Nej. Rent. Yep. Yep. Wow, wow, wow. Wow, wow. Sindssygt der er gas i.
and rolling just a bit too far.
Yeah, they swept that early too. You didn't need to.
Which is really unfortunate for the Danish team.
Even if they had stayed for a biter out in the wings, that would have forced Tirinzoni to play a hit, and they could have used the corner guards. But now a little bit of an advantage for Silvana. She can try to go around the guard first.
Først lige ved der oppe og spille.
Ej, vi spiller.
Six, 7, 8, 7, 7, 8, 9. Bird.
Yeah.
Way back.
Back line.
I want to make sure this stays in the rings. I think there actually might even be a split opportunity there for Nielsen to get both those red rocks in the rings. That one that's just short, that does hang on, so it makes the split a little bit more difficult. So they can either freeze, or they can come around, or they can tap that out. There's a few options. We'll see what she likes. I like the come around though.
Det er lige før, jeg tror faktisk, der er mere kø den anden vej.
rører os, hvis du står på korset.
I mean, if Lene makes a perfect shot with this rock
vi kan
now,
komme rundt
there
den
is
her vej.
still a good chance for a two.
Hendes curl
Yes,
I
definitely.
also think just ignore that back 12-foot rock and play a nice come around and give a difficult task to Silvana with her last rock. So they decided on the come around.
Jeg tror i hvert fald, den skal have
Behind
lov
the
til lige
center
at arbejde
guard.
et stykke derind.
They would like to be top 4 foot, fully buried behind that guard.
Giv hende et squeeze, mindre.
Det var et squeeze.
Let's see if they get enough curl over that center line.
Yeah, this intern seems to move better than the outturn does. So it starts on the outturn, then she rolls it, and then puts the intern on. Really interesting release.
Vær klar på retningen.
10. Yep.
Wow. Yep. Yep.
This is definitely curling.
Yep. 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 Yep.
And just touching the guard. Probably was a bit light when I see where that stone is stopping.
Yeah, certainly wasn't going to make it to the tee line, but
So the
got it. Or if she got on that a little sooner, might have been able to get full 8 foot. So now a good chance for Tirinzoni to force Nielsen into taking one. Would love to hit and stay here. Actually, a nose hit would actually make a little bit of a problem for Nielsen because she's going to have to change the path of her draw. She's going to be forced to play an outturn draw away from the stone in the rings. But main object here is just to try to hit and stay.
Ten and a half. Clean. Clean. 10. Clean. Clean. 10.
Yep. Hard. Yep. Yep.
Fresh. Knuckly. Knuckly.
Vi kan drage ind, så. Kan vi komme ind der?
Actually, the little roll is going to let her play the same draw if she would like. She can play the intern or the outturn now. Going to play the out this time.
So a draw to the 8 foot is required here of Nielsen to secure a 1 in that fourth end.
Ja, altså mine garter har været omkring det 30.
Just a quick update from the bronze medal game. It's Erica Brown took 2 and stole 1 in the third end. So she's actually up 3-1 over Marianne Arsenault and her team. They play. She's in the fifth end right now. An update for you, but here's the draw. As it comes down. The sweepers really haven't stopped on this one. I'd say it's not heavy, but it looks pretty good.
Really good job from the sweepers.
Yes, no kidding, yeah. End to end and just got to the 8 foot.
So this is giving a 1 to the Danish team to a score of 3-2 after 4 ends for Team Tirinzoni. They're having the hammer again in the fifth end. So Mike, at the moment, we could say advantage Tirinzoni.
Yeah, I would say so. She's up 1 with last rock now as we get into the second half of the game. So she's in a better position now than she was at the start of the game, and yeah, definitely is. She earned it in that third end with her great deuce, and actually she hit and rolled out in the first end as well. So she could actually be up 2 with the hammer. You know, they're playing pretty solidly, and the one end they did get into some trouble. The skip was able to save them.
So what would you expect now of Team Tirinzoni? Just to keep the hammer to go forward, or try for the 2?
We've been noticing a trend actually in Canada. In some of these games, when in tight games, tie games, and one-up games, playing the fifth end, teams really want to try to blank that fifth end, and they end up having. So they want to have the hammer in 6. We'll see if they decide to continue their aggressive play, though. Silvana's, I've known from what I've seen of her, she seems to be a little bit more aggressive than some of the teams that I've been watching. But pretty good strategist, actually. She makes a lot of good decisions. Sees the game very well.
Silvana has been on the tour for really quite some years. She's a great tournament player, having had quite some success there. Lately just didn't manage to become Swiss champion and to qualify for some international events like Europeans or World Championships.
There's a few teams in Canada that you could say the same thing. There's Chelsea Carey in Winnipeg, she's a runner-up in the to Jennifer Jones the last couple of years in Manitoba, but seems to win a lot of money every year. And Shannon Kleibrink's always been a team that's won a ton of money on the World Curling Tour, but she represented Canada, of course, at the Olympics in Torino, but has yet to really capture a Scotties. So there's a few teams out there that are like that. It seems like they're waiting for that one breakthrough, and when they do get some success, like a team like Silvana could go to a World Championship and win it in the first year. She's first year of experience, so you never know.
Yeah, it would be great to see her and her team also play internationally. So let's see how she's going to do at the next Swiss Championship and who's going to represent the Swiss nation at the World Championship in Riga. So when I look actually at the current standing of the Curling Champions Tour, I see Anna Sidorova is still leading it, Silvana in the pole position, and with this result here being first or runner-up, she's going to take up the lead in the Curling Champions Tour.
6, 7.
And just one event is remaining, the Glyn Hill International event in Glasgow, Scotland, following next weekend, or one of the next weekends. Mike, I'm not sure, is next
I think it
weekend?
starts this weekend. It starts Monday or Tuesday. Yeah, it's coming up. So.
Der luft?
Ja, en lille smule.
But I would suspect Silvana would trade some of the Bonspiel wins for one Swiss championship, I would think.
Ja. Jeg tænker det samme.
Så rykker den så godt nok derover.
Lige meget.
Du skal nok spille her for at få den med ud.
Okay.
Men jeg vil meget gerne have, at vi selv bliver der spørgsmål, om vi skal sætte farten ned.
Det vil godt. Lige her. Ja.
Yep, go! Go, yep! Yep!
Yeah, go to get by the guard here. Good shot.
Ja, det er smukt. Godt set. Godt set. Rigtig godt spillet. Godt set, Lene.
Well done there to get by and get rid of both blue Tirinzoni stones.
9.5.
Trying for the double.
Achterhoud.
Piece of curl.
Achterhoud.
Okay.
Savannah's a little bit fortunate there that rock rolled into the open. It was looking like it was going to just jam and leave it buried.
Ja, stort set.
Så sat sig egentlig mest på den lige nu.
Ja. Er det 3?
Ja. Altså alternativet, du går rundt, men så har hun dobbelt.
Ja.
So if you have any questions or comments, you can also write to us The email address is live@curlingchampionstour.org.
Ej, den er der.
And
Okay,
we're looking forward
det ender med at
to
blive 12.
have your questions in or read from where you're following our webcast.
Yep. Yep. Kør, Maria. Yep. Okay, godt, Ginny.
Nice center guard.
So Tirinzoni would love the double here, get rid of both guards, open things up.
Putze. Okay.
Not quite the way she wanted it. With one center guard rolling into the house.
Ja.
It's a little bit messy now for Tirinzoni, but
Ja, så cirka også sidder lige over på den anden side af.
Yep. 2-0. Yep. 2. Yep. 2. Skift. Tryk til 4. Yep. Træk den, Maria. Yep. Kom, Maria. Yep. Yep, Maria. Det er godt farvet. Helle.
pretty good shot. Didn't quite get over as much as they would have liked. The interns available.
Schnell da. Ich glaube, ich würde. Oder sonst der, aber dann geht sie einfach hindern, oder?
Ja. I think she has to think about what's going to happen also with the following shots. Of course, if she is attacking that shot rock, she's going to lie behind the center line as well.
Yep, yeah, that's right. And then it'll be an opportunity for a freeze, but
6, 7.
It's one of those decisions. You're at a point at this end where you're going to be forced to score.
7.
So this is
Achtung,
trying to see if they can squeeze 2
7,
points out of
8,
this end somehow.
8, 9. Lock it on, lock it on. 8, 9.
Yeah, we're all there.
Okay.
8. Tapping a little bit.
8. Okay, good.
It's good.
Så alternativet er ren frys. Ellers er det bombet. Okay? Yep.
So this will be the one. This will be the stone that really indicates or gives
God,
us an indication whether or not Tirinzoni's going to have a chance to score a few. Really important shot for Nielsen, down 1 with the hammer in the 5th frame. A good freeze here. She'll have a good chance of stealing.
Whoa! Whoa!
Needs to curl.
Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
Lækkert, Helle.
Godt se.
That's a pretty good shot. Really
Godt
good shot.
farvet,
Actually.
piger.
Det er super spillet.
Yeah, I say the head shot. I'm not even going to ever even attempt to figure out who shot before I've already lost one bet today, Nicole. So
Well, this is a pretty clear one at the moment, I think.
even I would have picked that one, yeah. But they're looking at either the double or the freeze. The problem with the double is that the red stone at the back 8 foot is still going to be second shot, and we'll leave the freeze again. So
Ja, aber jetzt ist es schon ein bisschen gefährlich im
Savannah's got
Moment.
a bit of a problem here now.
Okay. Ja, ist gut, machen wir den. Das Problem ist einfach, du wirst ja so auch nicht schuld. Ja. Du müsstest ihn ja tappen. Ja, ist gut. Willst du den machen? Ja.
Freeze over the, or play the slash double.
Yeah, run back, yeah.
This is quite a critical situation.
Well, the danger here too, if she actually hits this wrong, she could actually hit her own blue one out of there as well.
She could.
So she needs to be careful. And even if she makes the shot she calls, she's still in a bit of trouble.
Yep. Whoa. 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 Whoa.
This is close to being good.
Yep.
Not bad.
Okay. Okay.
Although red still shot, it's now open at least.
And with no backing.
So actually a freeze here from Nielsen will leave a pocket for Tirinzoni to come to.
Det er bedst.
You see Nielsen indicate top button actually would be better. That's right.
Just playing an out-turn draw.
T-line.
Ja. Det ser spændende ud.
There's Annette Norberg there on the right that we saw.
Har du andre
Two-time
idéer?
Olympic
Nej,
champion.
Altså, jeg undrer mig over vejen. Man kan godt se,
Interested
at hvis man
spectator?
går til dækkerne.
Absolutely. She has lost in the quarterfinals this
Starten er
morning.
lige risky nok, er den ikke?
Jo.
Tror vi ikke godt, den kan kolde derinde?
Jo, tror jeg. Kommer pænt til sidst.
Ja.
Vi skal bare holde os væk fra start af. Medmindre den har brug for det.
So where would be the optimal spot for this shot of Lene Nielsen?
Well, I think if she could place it anywhere, she would put it right at the top of the button, half buried behind that center guard.
Bare fart. 4. Der er plads.
She definitely wants to make sure she's in there for lie 2 though,
Jeg vil
because if
gerne.
she comes up top 8 foot, top
Bare
4
fart.
foot, she'll leave a double for Silvana to lie 2.
Yep.
Trying to curl now.
Yep.
Need to get right in.
Altså, det ved jeg ikke, om der er dårlig
So that's the
kommunikation, men jeg
problem.
ved
She
godt,
didn't
den
get
ikke kommer
second
ned.
shot, so what's going to happen now is Silvana actually is a tap back to lie 2. Just tap that stone back about 6 or 8 inches and end up sitting 2. You get one of those
Wenn man da überwickelt, dann bringt es irgendwie auch nichts.
Nein, wenn, dann müssen wir probieren. So.
Wir könnten dann nur den ein bisschen hinterher stoßen.
so you just right where Silvana, those 2 brooms are sitting, you'd like to tap that red stone back just behind.
And stay with the shooter on the nose or roll to the outside?
No, right on the nose I think is best. Roll to the outside, you let Nielsen hit and roll under. You don't want to do
Yeah,
that.
I don't think you. Yeah. Maybe you could roll a little bit. Maybe with really, really soft weight.
I guess the good thing with the tap on the nose now would be that
Yeah.
Lene Nielsen with her last rock actually can't get shot if she attacks that stone.
Correct. And the danger is that she jams it on the one that's being, you know, if she could move this stone just to the back of the 4 foot, move it literally, you know, a foot or a foot and a half, Tirinzoni's gonna have a great chance of scoring 2 here again in the 5th. And really, when they were in trouble most of this end. So a big shot here from Silvana. She bumps this too far. There's a pretty
8,
makeable
9.
double.
Don't leave it. 8, 10. Yep. Wait. Whoa. Whoa. 8, 9. 8, 9. Backline. Backline. Yep. Whoa. Yep. Backline. Whoa.
Going to get by. Ooh, and they lost that one. The weight was perfect, actually. A little heavier than she was maybe hoping, but they were surprised, I think, by the amount of curl that took. The only saving grace for Silvana is that that's her own stone is still buried. But if Nielsen can get this into the top of the button, I don't know how they might end up stealing 2 here. But there wasn't throwing a guard. A little bit of a surprise. I'm quite surprised they're playing the guard here, actually.
Hvad havde du før, Borten?
Well, it will be very difficult for Silvana to get a 1 if she
score.
makes a perfect guard, and I think a steal of 1 is actually
Almost
all
guaranteed, yeah.
and all Team Denmark needs at this stage of time to be tied again going into the sixth end. I think that would be a very good,
Yep, good result.
result.
Wow.
2,5.
2,5. Skift. Ikke endnu.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Lidt længere.
Looks perfect.
Yep. Go, Halle. Yep. Godt faret.
It is
Godt,
perfect.
Lena. Godt set. Jeg skal høre, om der er et hul.
Yeah, Silvana might throw this one away, actually.
Er der et minimalt hul på langs? Så tror jeg, stenen skal rejse op siden af. Det er jeg mener. God gang.
I don't really see a shot there that's worth the risk.
Endelig noget, der ikke overkøler. Jeg tog det sidste. Jeg synes, det er Janne.
Trying to see if there's a hole there. I don't think there's actually a rock will go through there.
Gav med kommunikation på den sidste, for jeg ved godt, den ikke kommer derned.
And to come down with an out-turn, draw just back 8 foot length, do you think it would curl enough to
I
get
don't
short
know.
rock?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I'm just wondering because your first rock was curling quite a lot.
It did. Yeah, you're right.
Så gør det tvæn i gødme. Nej, ha? Det der, det dobbelt, nej, det er viel zu small.
I think a rock will fit through there. It's just.
Yeah, if you just.
Yeah, it's got like this much on either side.
Ja, höchstens, oder?
Yeah, we tried.
I'm not sure if she's aiming for the run back on the red center guard.
I think she's trying to get through the hole. The run back is really risky.
It would be really risky, yeah.
There is a hole.
But is there a hole?
Yeah.
I can't see that.
You need a very skinny rock.
What
I
else
think,
are we
to
going
get
to
through
play
there.
if we don't try
Especially
it?
the way the two guards are lying.
Right.
10?
But that's the shot she's going for.
10.
It's too hard to control. Yeah.
The problem is if let's say she papers one of the guards, her shooter's going to be going in there. Instead, she only has one little blue one back there. It's a nerve-wracking shot. But I'm not sure this shot is even there. But,
So last
gonna
rock
try
in
it.
this fifth end.
9.5. Whoa.
Tricky shot through a port.
Yes! Hard! Hard, 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 hard,
And giving up a steal of 1 to tie the game at 3-3 after 5 ends.
it was a good try.
And it's nice to read that we have also some spectators out in Korea.
Nice.
This is the brother of Anne Swisshelm, Bill Swisshelm, who seems to be living there and greatly enjoying
Nice.
our webcast.
So we'll give Bill some good news that his sister's team is up 4-2 playing the sixth end with Last Rock against Marianne Arsenault and her team for in the 3-4 game.
So thank you, Bill, for writing to us.
Full fart.
People
Full
from
fire.
all over. Australia, Korea. There's been a few mentions on Twitter from Brian Chick in Toronto. He's watching as well.
Handling
So
okay. Den kan godt
The worldwide
tåle lige at køre
audience
lidt. Kig
here,
lige op,
and,
kig lige op. Nej.
coming to you from Bern.
And we also have
Okay,
Urs
Maria.
Lehmann
Maria.
writing to us.
Jeg fik
And
lige lidt for meget der.
actually, he would like to
Det var rigtig
know
godt sat.
what the standing is in the
Nu spiller
other
hun
two
take
games. You just mentioned one, Mike, and we have another game going on. This is between Andrea Schöpp and Olga Yarkova. So Team Germany against a team from Russia. This is the final of the Consolidation Cup. And Andrea Schöpp is winning 5-3 at the moment after 5 ends, having the hammer in the 6th end. So the Consolidation Cup, that's a little tournament in itself. For
Yes, it's the bonspiel you can't get out of here in Bern. You lose out of the main event and you still have to go play the Consolation Cup. And I know that they're happy to, they're playing for 500 Swiss francs, I think, the 1,000 to the winner and 500 to the runner-up. So again, worth getting out of bed for and playing for. So, and Andrea's always a competitor. She'll curl until the last rock stops in this match. So they're again, 2 up with the hammer. Both
Godt,
both the
Maja.
other
God
games
fart.
are,
God fart.
you know, Brown and
Godt
Schuck
se, Line.
have good control of both of those games. So.
And these have been early games this morning as well, starting at 8 o'clock. So also the teams who have been enjoying a bit the nightlife of Bern had to get up. Mike, I think
Yes, they
you
did.
can tell a story about that.
I don't share stories that happen after curling. That's not fair. You know, there's a lot of research. We call it research. We're doing some research last night with Team Overton Clapham and Team Webster from Canada, and I learned a lot of things, but nothing I can share. How's that? But it was, you're right, it was an early morning for Team Webster. They were on the ice at 8 o'clock this morning, and I was also here early, you know, Nicole. Some of us got up here before the sun rose in Bern. Nice, you have the civilized shift, just the two later games for you today.
I know.
That was very nice.
No, it's great to hear that the teams are also enjoying themselves next to the ice rink.
Godt se, Line.
Well, it's such a nice. I mean, for anyone who's not been here before, this is probably you know, the top 3 nicest curling clubs I've ever been in, and they've got just a fantastic facility here. 8 sheets of curling, 2 levels of viewing upstairs with the spectators. It's almost a stadium seating upstairs, and downstairs the restaurant is fantastic.
Godt spillet, Sanne.
Actually, quite a few businessmen just come here for lunch. At the restaurant, the food is great and the atmosphere is beautiful downstairs. To watch a game, nice place to have a glass of wine or a beer and watch the game. They did a really nice job building this new curling center here in Bern. I used to remember you curl the old curling club here with it was almost open air is the wrong word, but when you're out curling, the spectators could actually walk out around the sheet behind you. It was really an interesting atmosphere as well, but this is certainly a big step up from what it was.
And this ice rink has been built in 2001, so quite some years running here on the Bernese Almend, very close by the ice hockey rink and the Stade de Suisse, where you have all the football games and other events. So it's quite an event area where we are here.
Yeah, it's busy. There's a hockey game last night as well, and Bern, the local team here, won 2-0, and the pre-hockey game crowd was in and watching. It was great to see. A lot of they had the full house downstairs with a lot of the hockey fans, but I think they were also impressed with curling, what was going on out there.
So while this end is quite a defensive end, I can also share the email of Marissa Messier, who is writing to us all the way from Los Angeles. So we have most continents actually watching our coverage,
LA,
which is
nice.
really nice. And Marissa is actually the skip of the so-called Team Bond girls.
Yes, the famous Team Bond girls, that's right.
You can find them on Facebook as well and follow them. And they have been over in Europe and playing a few tournaments as well. Last year also at the Glyn Hill International, where they have played Team Tirinzoni. So they're cheering for Team Tirinzoni in this game and keeping their fingers crossed.
Not a lot going on here for Silvana, and it's one of those things. Again, when I talked a little bit earlier about the trend of teams trying to blank the 5th end, and we're really wanting to go aggressively to score in the 6th end, so that the theory is you have to hammer in 6, you have to hammer 2 of the last 3 ends. So by blanking here, now then it's going to be kind of a 50-50 matchup here with Nielsen. In theory, both teams will only have the hammer once the last 2 ends, so we're in for a big finish.
Good.
Nice shot.
Yeah, the teams are just exchanging rocks at the moment.
And I think Nielsen would be of the two would be the happier of the two, because she's going to now go into the 7th end tied, and which her goal will be to give Silvana 1 in the 7th end and try to take her deuce coming home. Steal would be great too. She has a couple of options, but she needs to be a little bit more aggressive. She's going to have to throw a center guard in the 7th end assuming Silvana blanks here.
Stanny.
She definitely is going to have to throw a center guard so that the play will not be brought into the rings too early and let Tirinzoni blank.
Tip. Whoa. Whoa. Clean. Tip. Fish. Fish. Tip. Nice. Good. That's all.
So Mike, are you going to attend any of the next curling events or plans to go to the Worlds in Riga, or what are
Well,
you aiming for?
I'm hoping I'm going to be at the U.S. Nationals in about 3 or 4 weeks. We have a lot of playdowns, and I have some commitments back in Canada with television there. So we have a Grand Slam event coming up in 2 weeks in Port Hawkesbury, Nova Scotia. So I'm actually flying through Halifax on the way back in next Tuesday, and then
So you're going to do the commentary there?
yeah, and then our Ontario Championships also broadcasts on Rogers this year for the first time, so I've committed to that as well.
Is that with the same team as you do the broadcast on the CBC?
Well, no, different play-by-play person. Bob Falls works with us, so and actually at Provincials it's going to be just myself, and Richard Hart actually has joined us in the booth for the last Grand Slam. Joan McCusker is going to be working the women's provincials. There's one of the women's provincials she's going to be broadcasting that during the same during the Grand Slam event. So Rogers actually has got a big commitment to curling. They've committed to doing Alberta, Manitoba, and Ontario provincial finals all in the same day across the country, and then that's the exact same weekend as the Grand Slam event in Port Hawkesbury. So there's 4 major curling games going on one day on Rogers across Canada, and then the men's provincial championships are going to be held 2 weeks after that, and then the U.S. Nationals the week after. So I'm hopeful to possibly attend that as well. I'm not committed there yet, but would love to head down, and then back over here to Switzerland. So the Swiss Championships is coming up, so I'm going to go to Gstaad and watch that a little bit, and then Riga. I hope to get to Riga as well, but we've got a couple of teams coming in for training as well to Champery, so a busy few weeks coming up for me.
That's how it sounds, yeah. Exactly. So actually the World Women's Curling Championship is going to be in Riga from the 16th to the 24th of March. If any one of you is having some plans to attend there, go and book your flight ticket.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about Riga too. I heard it's a beautiful city. And, I'm looking forward to visiting there for the first time. Never been to Latvia. So last rock here now coming for Silvana, and you worked the whole end to try to make sure you blank this end, and she's going to try to keep last rock going into 7.
Men det er den ikke.
One of those situations, it wouldn't be the end of the world to take one here either, so just have to be careful, make sure you throw it well. Just a good look at the striking band. You see how wide that white strip is, and that's we're talking about some of the rocks being dead, but that's a little bit about when the striking band is that wide. Indication. Anyway, looking for the blank.
Hendes arm kommer meget tidligt ned, så det?
Må du ikke åbne købe
Faktisk allerede det øjeblik, hun sætter fra i hakket, der bøjer hun armen.
Eller ham lige på.
Clean is a good sign.
Looking good, and here it is, the blank.
Hvorfor lægger de den ind? Eller hvorfor skyder de?
And keeping the score at 3-3 in this final game of the International Bernese Ladies Cup here in Switzerland. One of the Curling Champions Tour event where we have seen some exciting games during the last 2 days. My name is Nicole Strausak, and alongside me is Mike Harris. So now we're coming up to the 7th end. Strategy of Lene Nielsen definitely has to be to force someone for a score, either a steal or
exactly,
or force Tirinzoni for one.
And it starts with this shot. It starts with the guard.
Er det
She
god
needs to throw a
fart?
guard here.
Skift.
And the question is a bit if Team Tirinzoni, if they actually want to go for a two, really try for a two, or if they want to just go for
It
the
just
blank.
depends, you know, we saw it earlier,
Yep,
trying to keep the blank alive. Go for
Yep,
the
yep,
piece
yep,
would
yep.
be
Det er godt spillet,
selective
Maria.
in the opportunities you take, and
Godt far.
you don't have to go crazy and try to take a deuce at all
Ja, den var
costs.
god.
You need to make sure the end stays reasonably simple and maybe have an opportunity to blank. You never know.
Five, six, yeah. 9 is good. Feet's good. Oh. 9 is good. Achtung, zieh. Jetzt verleihen. Hard. Fest. Yep. Yep. Noch ein. Fest. Fest. Zieh. Fest. Sehr schön, danke.
Very nice come around in front of the tee line.
Good weight from Sandra Gantenbein. So Maria Poulsen now is just going to follow that rock and try to angle freeze on it.
Wow!
Den er kun 8.
Wow!
Kun 8.
Ja, det er ligegyldigt lige nu. Yep! Yep! Super retning nu, yep! Kør, Janne, yep!
Længere.
Hele vejen nu, Helle, yep!
We're working hard on it to bring it down every inch. The closer the
Godt
better.
se, Line.
Pretty good shot there, but they would have liked to get that more into the 4-foot area. So the scoring area right now for Tirinzoni is quite large to get her second point in there.
Jeg begynder bare at få sådan ondt i håndledet. Lyder ikke fra. Nej, men bare jeg er træt.
Seks. Zet den lang aus. Look. Take a look. Whoa. Niet zo lang. Okay. Bis da. Ja, even. Yes, yeah. Yep. Yeah. Fish. Hard. Yeah. Fish.
So they want to bring it in actually a bit deeper, because like that they're going to leave a double takeout possibility.
Yeah, that was a bit of a mistake. They would like to have brought that in to the tee line at least.
So Jean Ellegard with a double attempt.
Well done.
Nice shot. The shooter rolled out of the 8-foot area. Still a very good shot.
I can see about half. Huh? Halve. Okay. Almost half.
The double's made here for Tirinzoni. The blank starts to get
like
a little
10?
bit more promising.
Okay.
Tricky double. It's not. You can't see a lot of the stone. You need to hit it quite thin as well.
Den er for
About a quarter
flat, og
rock.
det er derfor, den kan køre videre. Den skal ramme mere.
So here we see 20-year-old Courtney Davis from Ontario, Canada, for everyone who's wondering what she's doing on the team. She came in as an Orange got an injury on her foot ankle and is not able to play at the moment. So Team Tirinzoni managed to bring in Courtney to play this whole tournament with them, and she's doing a really good job so far.
Yeah, they needed to sweep that one though. They could have made the double. Again, an indication again the rocks just are not that lively, and Silvana trying to get it out, doesn't quite manage to sweep it out the back. But the good news for her is that for Denmark to hit and roll into the rings, it would probably jam on the stone in the back 12 foot, so they have to be
Jeg
careful.
tror på, det der, men det kan også give hende muligheden. Det er godt, vi bare skal være benhårde og gå rundt.
Altså, længe du
And if she
holder
noses it, she's got to be
stop
careful to
ikke
jam on the back 12 foot. So the blank is actually still quite alive, very much alive here for Tirinzoni.
Og tvinge hende til en, ikke? Det vil være lidt planen. Ja, men...
So Denmark needs to be very careful here that this doesn't jam. She can actually hit it thin enough to cross the top of the stone at the back and save the shooter, but it's not an easy shot at all.
Yep. Whoa, 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 whoa. And yep. Whoa. Yep. Oh, yep. Yep. Yep.
Ej, hvor tavligt.
There, that's exactly what we talked about. There's the jam, and now the deuce is on.
Okay.
That's how quickly it can change in curling.
Yeah, it wasn't that, you know, he said that shot wasn't that bad, and you know, because of the angles there, it was actually set up pretty well, and you know, what the simple shot might have been for Denmark just to try to hit that on the nose and get that out of the way, but they took a bit of a risk. Now a chance for Silvana to get her deuce, and
It's
take
just
a
always
2-point
so
lead.
handy for the team with the hammer to have stones hanging around
At the
the
back,
back.
yes.
Yeah, exactly. Because sooner or later you will see a jam.
and there's a perfect roll, and all of a sudden there's run back, and again the run backs. This is the shot we talked about, gets made more often than it used to. Silvana Rock coming over from that the consolation final, and anyway, this shot gets made more often than it ever used to get made, and the risk, of course, is if you miss it, you give it up a chance for 3. But otherwise, you're almost handing Tirinzoni 2 points. Really difficult to force her hitting the stone at the back 12. So, interesting decision here from Nielsen.
Go!
Yeah, that is a change of strategy within the end. It hasn't worked out exactly the way they wanted it, so now...
Well, one miss, right? You know, they
Yeah.
end up missing that shot.
Stop.
Silvana's given that all she's got.
Ej, hvor er det tæt
Try
på.
to sweep it out the back 12.
So.
Ja.
Was ist, wenn wir es so machen? Gibt es einfach 2?
Ja.
Ist gut. Ist auch gut.
Ja.
Aber wir sind Shot, gell?
Ja.
Wir könnten dann nur Freeze, aber...
Ja.
I would tend to ignore that rock at the back and just play the draw. Do you prefer...
The other option is to draw open, you know, to the left side as we're looking at it onto the tee line.
It depends now if you're going for 2 or 3 actually in that situation.
Yeah, if you wanted to go for 3, you'd go around the guard again, but there's no need. The risk, of course, if you go around the center guard, you make it perfectly. Say you make it perfectly to the top 4 foot. Nielsen's going to play the run back and could make the run double, and then you're going to be forced to take one again. I think going open, you're guaranteed, almost guaranteed to get your 2 points.
So we see Marlene Albrecht
Line is good.
playing a come around.
And, well, we saw this again with in the semifinal today. The other potential disaster here is coming too deep, and Nielsen made Marianne Arsenault pay the price. She came into the tee line, and you know, she made a great freeze, and there was only room for 1 point. And that actually is a bit of a mistake. It stayed a little bit open. There's a hit and roll under now, so it was a risky going around the center guard, in my opinion. You know, the reward is big. If you can make it perfect, you might get 3, but
Ikke mere
the
der.
risk is you might only get 1.
Jamen, den har et hjørne gemt. Ja.
Yes! Bakker plus hak. Ja! Wow! Hak! Wow!
Needs to curl a bit.
Ah, var det ærgerligt.
Ja, det er godt spillet.
Fint, eller?
Ej.
Nice attempt, just hit it on the nose. They hoped for a little roll to the inside.
Fort! Ja. Lassen ist auch okay.
So Marlene is just going to follow down the exact same line to try the same, hit it on the nose or roll a little bit to the inside.
11, 12, 12, 12.
Yeah, she definitely does not want to roll open and leave Nielsen the hit and roll.
No roll, no roll. Okay.
So pretty good shot there. Roll did roll open.
Er der ikke et rull?
Ja, altså.
Eller vil hun gå direkte? Nej, det vil hun ikke.
Ja. Kan du begynde at komme med en eller er det bare...
I don't know. Jeg synes bare, det må jo hellere lave den her.
Problem is she jammed it. Look at that stone at the back 12 now, and Denmark is now shot rock. And there's no reason to play this take. They should actually draw here. This might be a strategic mistake. If Tirinzoni is not shot rock at the top here, she'd be better off drawing. If she doesn't roll in here to lie 2, this could be a bit of a turning point. Not even sure if she's realized that she's shot rock at the back now. I'm guessing it's red.
I agree with you, Mike.
Go! Whoa! Whoa, up.
So I guess she just wants to make sure that she's
Vær klar, Maria!
Well, she has to roll
Not
into the 8
risking
foot. Nose hit doesn't do it. There she goes. Good
Yeah.
shot.
it's a
Ah,
good
det er
shot.
ærgerligt. Det er fint.
So interesting times here now. For Tirinzoni. She makes the roll. Again, she's going to have a good chance of scoring 2, possibly 3.
10. Hey. We have to roll. Yeah. Weer een klein weniger.
Tag 5. Tag. Neat.
That
So
seems
nose
to be a
hit.
very straight line. Didn't
Did.
curl at all, just hit it on the nose.
Jeg har mere, hvor det
You
kommer
see
fra, hvis du
Nielsen
er interesseret.
indicating the hit and roll. She again, don't be too aggressive with this.
She
Nose-
has to stay around. The shooter
Well,
has to
nose
stay
hit's
in the
fine, but
house.
again, if she rolls a little bit too far into the open on the other side, she'll leave a double for Tirinzoni to score 2. So, you know, the miss here is actually to nose hit it or try to make the roll, but don't get too cute with the roll. If you roll one rock too far, you might end up giving up 2. So she's mission's accomplished here if she can actually make the nose hit. And
if anything, show some
on
of
the
the
right
zone on
side.
the right-hand side.
Yeah, exactly. Even if she rolls a rock to the left, a hack weight double might be available for Tirinzoni as well to score 2. No, I think a nose hit's a pretty good
Lidt
alternative.
hurtigere. Ren. Gå. Vær klar. Ren.
Nej, op! Op! Kom nu!
Kommer lidt nu.
Kom nu! Gå, Maria, hjem!
Hvor er det ærgerligt.
So that little roll, I think Tirinzoni can throw a hack weight double
We
for
zijn
2.
nu ganz wenig
I
bereden.
still think the nose hit would have been a better call there.
They have second rock, so.
See,
Because
it's-
actually, Silvana could really think now, okay, I mean, she can go fully out actually for that double, because if she misses it,
she give up 1, it's
yeah,
not the
give
end of
up
the
1,
world.
which is also a good result for
Yeah,
her.
not the end of the world. I've had this conversation with my team a lot of times. Would you rather be up 1 without last rock, or would you rather be down 1 with? And statistically, you're better off being up 1. There's it's about a 60-40 split. You're better off up one. You win more often than not. You'll win the game. But you know, it's one of those things. Teams, it's a comfortable feeling certainly when you're down one with the hammer. But statistically, you'll win more games if you're ahead.
Yeah, you have to stay, right?
Yeah, we have to stay. Yeah.
Are you trying? You're going to try it with 11?
Yes. I read the let them steal one, then score one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. But we tried it out.
Okay.
So you heard them say it was 11, which is just backline weight.
The one before was 10-5, was it?
Yeah.
About so about the same.
So here is the last rock of the 7th end.
Yeah! Hard! Hard! Best! Yeah! Yeah!
We're not agreeing if the stone should be swept or not,
Great shot.
but she's making a
Fantastic.
perfect rock.
Fantastic. And so there's just the smallest little mistake there ended up costing Nielsen. You know, you got to really think these things out against these good teams. She rolled into a position where Silvana can just throw the perfect weight and save the shooter. If that rock was further over to the right, the red rock, the shooter would roll out. You'd have to hit the shot thinner. No double available. So maybe a lesson learned there for learned the hard way for Nielsen. But still, great shot from Silvana. That was she's made a couple of fantastic shots in this game to take a 2-point lead now into the 8th end.
And she found really the perfect weight to play that rock because, as you said correctly, she couldn't be too heavy on that, otherwise the shooter would just roll out, and she just accomplished it perfectly. So that gives Team Silvana Tirinzoni a 2-point lead going into the last end, being 5-3 up. Team Lene Nielsen now with the hammer in that last end. Just as a reminder, it's an 8-end game, of course, with extra end. And also an update on the scores on the other sheets. We have the game for 3rd, 4th ranking being played between Erika Brown from the United States against Team Marianne Arsenault from Canada. Team Brown is leading 5-2 after 6th end. Team Arsenault having the hammer in the 7th end.
Yes, Bill Swisshelm will be happy to hear that, I'm sure, out in Korea. And then actually Yarkova's made a big comeback against Andrea Schopp. She stole the 6th and the 7th end, so they're tied 5-5 in the consolation final as well. So Andrea Schopp, after taking 4 points to having a 5-1 lead, it's now tied 5-5 coming home. Schopp has the hammer. There's a look at the scoreboard.
So Tirinzoni's team, they don't want to have a lot of rocks hanging around in that last end, being 2 up. So they decided to play the lead 2nd stone through, while Maria Paulsen is going to aim for a 2nd corner guard, if possible on the same height as the first one.
Yeah, don't want to leave a double here for Tirinzoni.
Sæt dig. Godt, Maja. Maja.
Perfect.
Godt, se 4.
Just wait.
there is the big break that Nielsen needs.
Bare rundt, ikke, Lene? Jo, men jeg tænker bare, hvor der var bedst
So
kørt.
2 is definitely in play, and actually even 3 is a possibility now with 2 corner guards and throwing. So this game is far from over. There's going to be a little bit more action here in the 8th end before we're done. It's going to be difficult for Tirinzoni to keep things open now.
So Bruce Davis writing us from Newmarket, Ontario. Bruce is actually the father of Courtney, so he's of course not going to be happy with just that last rock off Courtney, but otherwise enjoying our broadcast and of course a proud father watching his daughter.
I'm sure it's no easier watching on the internet than it is watching live either, so it's a bit of a mistake there from Courtney, but she's played great all week. You know, it's been amazing to have a new player fit in and go into an event like this and remain undefeated all the way to the final. So we'll see if they can hold up for another 15 minutes. Their dad, and see if they can win. Almost flashed another one, but
it's good enough.
Got away with it. Yeah, they got away with it.
It's not possible to bury a stone behind that rock, or what would you say?
No, I don't
Mike?
think so. I don't think so. And Nielsen's throwing up one more corner guard. This will be the last corner guard that I would throw if it was me. I would then, you're going to expect Tirinzoni to peel the corner. Then you go around the other corner guard, and all of a sudden, 2 or 3 is in play here. So, as I said, they're a long way from being out of trouble here, Tirinzoni is. So theoretically, you throw the guard, they peel, you go around. Okay. The double is available now for Tirinzoni. The double on the two guards that are close to the center line is available. And if she actually makes this double, this would really get them out of a jam in terms of giving up 3 points. They're still in it for 2.
But that is a key shot, yeah.
If they can make the double on the guards. They have to be a little bit careful they don't get unlucky moving a red rock into the ring somehow. So it's not the easiest double in the world. I said especially these rocks aren't that lively.
Yep. Fish! Whoa. Tier! Fish!
Okay, so made the double, but the guard is still there. So I think now if I'm Nielsen, I come around that blue guard somehow, either the out turn or the in turn, depending on which one she knows better. So the theory is you go around the guard right where her broom is, they hit the open one, you go around again, and you have 2 buried and you can score your 3. That's how you get 3 with 2 corner guards in play.
Du er ikke på en garde mere. Du er ikke på en garde mere.
Just asking if you want to throw one more guard. I think I understood that. I think it's time to go.
Vi har jo ikke skotten. Så hvis hun på et eller andet tidspunkt beslutter sig for, at hun ikke gider lege mere. Vi kan godt lægge en til op.
Nej, jeg vil gerne rundt. Kan du ikke lide det,
bare gå rundt.
Yeah, they come back to the conclusion you made, Mike. They're going for the come around.
I like it. If you make this shot, there's a ton of pressure now all of a sudden on Tirinzoni's team. This is over curling, I think. No, the line's good. Line's good. Good looking shot here. There we go. So, game on. Game on now. And you're Silvana, you know what's coming. If you hit this one, you know that she's coming around that guard again. It's a lot of pressure. And you don't really have a lot of choice. The other option is to play a freeze, but that takes some guts. But it's one of those situations. You have to assume your opponents are going to make their shots. So really scary. Really scary situation for Tirinzoni, who's you know, really been in control most of this game. They said you know exactly what's coming in the next shot. The best result here for Tirinzoni would actually be kind of hit this quietly and trying to roll another one maybe into the center line somewhere. So that cuts off the draw a little bit more. It makes the draw slightly more difficult. So it might force Nielsen to play a hit and roll under, or probably as good as she could have done result-wise.
Du får samlet det bag en, hun kan hamre på. Ellers skal du rulle, så det kun lige et halvt hjørne, der er gemt.
Blue Rocks are actually quite in a good spot.
They're not bad, but they're still, as I said, if Nielsen can actually hit that stone and roll underneath the corner guard, hit the one on the left side of center line, roll behind the corner guard, she lies first and third buried, and there's nowhere for Tirinzoni to go. Like, she really has a difficult time with her next shot. So.
Altså, vi bliver nødt til at fjerne en af dem.
Ja, men det er kun fordi, jeg ikke lige bryder mig om den der, men det kan jeg blive nødt til.
Men er der fuld luft?
Ja.
One small miss in the free guard zone, and you get into a bit of trouble.
Hammer rundt på den der, så den kun er halvt gemt. Hvis du laver den, så hammer hun ned, og så er det hele væk.
And while they're discussing, I'm just reading the email of Timothy Jacques, writing us all the way from Omaha, Nebraska, and he thinks the scoreboards are really cool, and he's wondering if they're connected to the internet, and yes, it is. So if the players type in the score, they're actually immediately and automatically linked to the website.
Yeah, it's amazing actually, you know, they can do, and so you think you could do that with any league game, anything at all. So anyway, here's the big shot. They can hit and roll buried here. There is two perfect shots from Team Nielsen, and all of a sudden 3 is not only in play, it's likely now they can score 3 points here in this end. And Tirinzoni just has to be feeling sick at this point, you know, so he's controlled this entire game. But look at those two rocks.
Perfectly in a line behind that corner guard.
And, you know, Tirinzoni understands where she's at. She's actually playing kind of a corner freeze. And right now she would gladly give Nielsen 2 points and move on to an extra end, because it's not looking very good right now at all for Tirinzoni.
So she has to make sure now to tie the Danish team down to 2 points, and the possibility to do that is to play in a draw, and optimal would be an angle freeze on the shot rock. She wouldn't be shot, but she would have a very good second rock in play.
She'd take it, I think. Yeah, exactly. But two great shots there from Hilda Simonsen, the third for Denmark. 9 is not good. This needs to stop in, certainly has to be third shot at worst.
8, 7.
That's okay. But again, I think there's still a hit and roll, there's a double available, there's all kinds of shots. So if Nielsen can actually come down, tap this rock out, and roll behind the blue stone to lie 2, you know, again, Tirinzoni's got a bit of a problem. It's actually been a perfectly played end by Denmark. They haven't missed it. They've made all 6 of their shots so far exactly perfectly, and Tirinzoni really only had 1 miss.
And we have all the excitement that we're looking for in a final game of a Curling Champions Tour event. It's still all on the plate. It could be a 2 or a 3 for Denmark here in this end.
Well, I think Tirinzoni's hoping for a 2. It would be Quite a shocking finish here. This is really curling. Great shot. Great shot.
Very nice executed.
Fantastic. Perfect. 7. So 7 in a row now from Nielsen's team, and Tirinzoni's got a problem. So as Silvana contemplates, it's Andrea Schopp has won the Consolation Cup. She's just made her point in the last end, and Erica Brown is up 4 points now playing the last end. So she's going to win the, she's going to finish third. But decision time for Silvana. I think the tap freeze is probably her best option. Tap the blue one back onto the one at the back of the forefoot, but that's extremely difficult. The other option is the wide in-turn freeze around the blue one. But you have to get second shot, and that will probably still leave a double for 3 for Nielsen, a nose hit double.
Unless it's really frozen on the back one.
Right. But it's going to be difficult to get it right to the nose. It's, you know, it's half, at least half buried. The tap might be the easiest shot.
Yeah, it's fine.
So the decision's made. They've indicated the tap. And I think no matter what she does here, Nielsen's going to probably have a shot to win. It might be a very difficult shot to win, but and then on the upside, if she makes the tap freeze perfectly, Silvana will probably win the game. But what a great end played by the Danish team here in the 8th end in the final.
So it's all down to the last 2 rocks in this final game.
The real key in this shot is throwing the proper weight. You know, even if she bumps it only about a foot straight back, the double, as they said, the rocks are not lively. The double is difficult.
6, 7.
Bumping it half buried actually is not a bad thing.
That's fine. Just wait. 7. Needs to curl. 7, 8. 8, 9. 8.
9's a lot. That's too heavy.
8. 9. 9's great. 9.
Close for lines. What a fantastic shot. Fantastic shot. Couldn't be better, really.
That is really 10 out of 10. And
Silvana has made 2 or 3 unbelievable shots in this game to really save her team, and that was the best of the bunch right there. Just great to see. I don't know that it's a really tough shot to score 2 now, even. The angle on those 2 stones at the back is excellent for Tirinzoni. The rocks are dead, as we mentioned. So to play a run back double, it's really tough to get both of those blues out of the house. But it might be her only option, is to run it back and just try to feather that blue straight sideways and make it that way. The other turn, of course, you could play the in-turn on the right-hand side of the sheet as we're looking at it and just pick it clean off the face, but that's tough too. You only, again, hitting half an inch or an inch of that stone at the most. When both shots are equally difficult, I think you play the one that could win you the game.
The other shot I'm just looking at, it maybe also be possible to raise up the own red rock in the 12th foot. I'm not sure if the guard is in the way. I can't.
Yeah, the blue guard, you're looking on the outturn side. See what you're seeing, yeah. Might be there for a couple. The only difficulty with that, we really haven't seen that shot thrown all game. I think if you're going to throw one, I think this shot might be the easiest one. The run back double for 3, try to pick it clean, but it's so difficult to get the rocks moving out of the 8 foot. That the top rock will easily go. It's the one that the angle's so good on those stones at the back, but it's definitely there to win. The shot's definitely makeable, but it's very difficult.
svært skud, det kan jeg også se.
Men altså, det andet virker lige. Jeg skal ikke prøve at spille efter det.
Ja, fordi vi kan få 3 på den jo.
Anyway, it's been a great match no matter what happens here. This has been a great game to watch, and
it was, and we have to say both teams would deserve the win, have been really fighting for it. And
absolutely, if this shot's made, this is a well-earned free here.
Absolutely, it was a great show in that final here of the International Bernese Ladies Cup. And Lene Nielsen is getting ready for her last rock in that 8th end.
So right on the nose is pretty close.
Oh! Yep. She's throwing a very hard weight.
And she's missed it, so it looks like Silvana did a great job there on her last one to save the day and win this prestigious event. As handshakes go all around, and we'll say congratulations certainly to both teams, but a great performance, particularly by Silvana. Made a great shot in the 3rd end to get her deuce. Beautiful double in 7, and then a fantastic tap freeze in the 8th end to secure the victory. And as we also mentioned, the final, it is definitely a final now over in the 3-4 game. Erica Brown has defeated Marianne Arsenault to finish 3rd. But the big news is Silvana Tirinzoni and her team capturing this prestigious event. Marlene Albrecht, Courtney Davies, and Sandra Kettenbein. Really well played, and I know Nicole's on her way down there to try to capture a quick interview with our winning skip. And we'll throw down to Nicole right now.
Silvana Tirinzoni, what a great game that was in the Bernese ladies event. Congratulations on that win.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we are very happy to win that game, and it's I don't know how many times I've played this tournament, and it's just a big win to get it all.
So what was your strategy going into that game?
Just play our game like we did the other 6 games, and trust yourself and just play one rock at a time. That was our strategy.
It was very close, right up actually to the 7th end, where we thought, okay, a very good 2 for you in the 7th end to have the lead, but then Team Denmark just played a great 8th end.
Yeah, that's true. We had 1 miss, and just that was the turnaround. And you know, if you play such a great team, you cannot afford to miss. And so she had a chance actually for 3. But yeah, we are really happy that she made it at the end.
Well, we have to say your last rock in that 8th end, I mean, that was really the match winner. It was a 10 point out of 10. It couldn't have been better.
Yeah, I'm really happy that I made that one. Yeah, that. Just what should I say? You have to trust yourself that you can make those kind of shots, and I did, and that's great.
You actually played a great tournament. You won all your 7 games, came out as a road winner, and that with a new second on your team. As Esther has an injury, had Courtney Davies in the team. She fit in perfect into the team.
Yeah, that's unbelievable actually that we were able to do that with an alternate. Of course, we missed Esther on the ice. She's a key player in our team, but Courtney just did a great job, and really happy that she came over to help us out.
So well done, congratulations to you and the whole team, and enjoy the 6,000 francs.
We will, thank you very much.
Well, I think there's a little bit of emotion there from Silvana Tirinzoni. She's played in this event a number of times, and a well-deserved victory here in the final in Bern. And as I said, there's been some great curling all week, and the field here particularly deep, and to go undefeated through this tournament is a great accomplishment. And as Silvana mentioned, especially with having a spare Courtney Davies coming over last minute from Canada, I thought she did a fine job fitting in. And there's a lot of that, a lot of management required, team management required there from Silvana as well. But I think the star of the game in that match was Silvana herself. She pretty much scored an unassisted 2 points in the third end, and then made a great double for 2 and 7, and the save in 8, and fought off a hard battling Lenny Nielsen from Denmark in this great final. So that'll wrap things up for us from here from the International Bernese Ladies Cup. Want to thank Nicole Strauzak for her commentating with me today. I'm Mike Harris, and thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.